To you guys today about the Detroit Pistons being in a very unique position, and it's a unique position in a very positive way, in my opinion. Now, we look at this season that just concluded for the Detroit Pistons. They had a fantastic year, and they had the biggest turnaround in NBA history. They were the only NBA team to triple their win total from the previous season. And what was so impressive about what the Detroit Pistons did last season, they were able to rise from the darkest place in franchise history and rise to a place of glory by trusting them same guys, trusting those same young players that went through that dark time and got the Pistons in that dark place, and they trusted them enough to play a big time role in bringing the Detroit Pistons out of that darkness. So I thought that was so impressive by the Detroit Pistons, and they did it in a very strategic, a very meaningful way. And the first thing that they did is on the basketball court, outside of bringing in, Trajan Langdon and bringing in Coach JB Bickerstaff, that was big time for the Detroit Pistons as well. But the other thing that they did was continue to trust the young talent on the team, because these guys are really, really good. And I know we spend so much time talking about Cade Cunningham, especially me, because I am, genuinely impressed by Cade Cunningham, and I'm genuinely a fan. And the way that he plays, it really, really excites me. So I find myself talking about Cade Cunningham a lot on the channel, but not talking about the other guys on the team, because what the other guys are doing on this team, the young pieces specifically, is honestly just impressive. Because what we just seen them do this previous season, we don't see a team rise to this kind of glory or have this type of turnaround just from one player. And Cade Cunningham, he's definitely the engine to the Detroit Pistons, but we all know a car doesn't just run off the engine. It has so many other meaningful parts, and that's what we've seen the other young important pieces on the Detroit Pistons do. They were able to find themselves, or they were able to figure out how to play a role on a winning basketball team, on a playoff basketball team. But the guys that's doing it, they have so much more upside to their career. They're really young, and they figured out how to play these important roles on a team that went to the playoffs, on a team that was super duper bad last season. They found the confidence in themselves to be able to do that, and honestly, a team that could have went to the second round of the NBA playoffs if a couple plays went their way. And those plays are some plays that they have full control over, just made some mistakes. But we're going to get to talking about some of these guys, and they're so interesting to me. The first guy I want to talk about that's really important, that we should be really excited about going forward, is Ausar Thompson. Now, just like we said in the beginning of the video that the Detroit Pistons are in a very unique position, I think Ausar Thompson is in a very unique position as an individual, because we look at him, he has an identical twin in the NBA that is playing really damn good. He just made first team All-NBA last season, and of course, Ausar Thompson, he definitely would have got those honors as well, but we know he missed some games early in the season dealing with his blood clots. But I always hear when I'm talking to people in real life, they always say that the Houston Rockets got the better twin, and I don't think there's no way we can say that, because their career has gotten off to such different starts when it comes to their reps and their experience. Now, when I was seeing Ausar Thompson in his rookie season, I was so excited, because he was doing all the little things on the basketball court really, really well. He was rebounding at a high level, and he was playing outstanding perimeter defense, interior defense, blocking shots, getting steals. But one thing he wasn't doing, he was knocking down three-point shots. The Detroit Pistons, we know that was a dark season for us. And Monty Williams, he decided to go away from development, and he basically took Ausar Thompson out of the rotation. And we look at Amen Thompson, Coach Ime Udoka continued to use him his entire rookie season, even though he wasn't knocking down three-point shots. So, you have that, and then also Ausar Thompson had the blood clot injury as well. So he's had some different trials and tribulations than his brother so far coming into the NBA. But what we've seen so far from Ausar Thompson, we should be so excited, because he came in last season and made a big time big-time difference for the Detroit Pistons on the defensive side of the ball. He came in and led them to being, from the month of January to the end of the NBA season of the Detroit Pistons, they were one of the best defenses in all of the NBA, and that was, of course, being led by Ausar Thompson, taking on the toughest defensive assignment every night. And then also you can put him in other spots on the basketball court on the defensive side of the ball. So he came in and accepted that role at this very young age of being that defensive ace. And statistically, last year, he was a better defender than his twin brother, Amen Thompson. So he is nasty on the defensive side of the ball. He also he came in and became that energy guy on the offensive side of the ball for the Detroit Pistons, a very effective cutter, and he gets the transition game going. So I'm not sure how old Ausar Thompson is. I should have looked it up, that this is going to be his third year coming into the NBA. So he still has so much more growing to do, but he's already in a position to where he can be the best defender on one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And we've seen the Detroit Pistons be able to bring that identity back that goes back decades before I was even born, back to when I was a little kid, where the Detroit Pistons, they play very physical on the defensive side of the ball, and they pound you on the glass. And that brings me to the next guy that I want to talk about in this Detroit Pistons young core that figured out how to play a trivial role on an important team, but they still have so much growing to do. And that next guy is Jalen Duren. And Jalen Duren is definitely a player that still showed us some of his growing pains at certain points in the last NBA season, or in the season that just ended for the Detroit Pistons. And it makes sense. Jalen Duren, when he came into the league, he was the youngest player in all of the NBA. So he still has a lot of learning to do. And despite that, he still had a very good season for the Detroit Pistons, and he played a very meaningful role. And just like we said, the Pistons had an outstanding ace defender on the perimeter, they also have an outstanding ace defender on the interior with Jalen Duren. And it does, like we said, he has his growing pains sometimes on the defensive side of the ball, where he gets caught ball watching instead of going and help. But when Jalen Duren is locked in on the defensive side of the ball, he's a really good vertical rim protector. He's altering shots all the times, and I really do think he still has that potential to be a better defender on the perimeter. He definitely has the foot speed and the athleticism to do so. I just still think it's just a learning process for him on the defensive side of the ball. But he helps set that tone with Ausar Thompson defensively, and then also another energizer guy on the offensive side of the ball. If I'm not mistaken, Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren, they led the NBA in alley-oop connections last year. So we all know what an alley-oop does for the fans, especially on the home during the home games. It gets the crowd energized, gets the team energized. So he was a consistent lob threat all season long, and he was also a really solid rebounder. He averaged a double-double on the season, around 13 points per game, to go along with 10 rebounds. So, and like we said, Jalen Duren is just 21 years of age, and he's already putting up a double-double. So I just know it's so much more to come from him. So one more guy, or maybe two more guys I want to talk about. Another player that I think is so intriguing on the Detroit Pistons is none other than Jaden Ivey. And I just got the age on Ausar Thompson. Ausar Thompson is 22 years of age, and Jaden Ivey is 23 years of age. And Jaden Ivey, before he went down with his injury, 30 games into the season, he was quietly playing the best basketball of his young career. And what was so intriguing about it to me is that he didn't get off to this season at he didn't get off to a hot start, but it was a gradual thing. Like, he was gradually getting better, gradually getting more efficient. And I think what we saw with Jaden Ivey this past season with guards like him, when we look at those athletic, supremely fast guards, the D Roses, the John Walls, the John Morants, the Russell Westbrooks, the one thing that they always say you can go back about all these guys is that they have to learn how to slow the game game down, slow down. And once they know how to slow down, change pace, it becomes very easy for them. And I think that's what we've seen with Jaden Ivey this season that just ended. We saw him accept being that secondary scorer, that secondary guy, playing off the ball more, cutting more, attacking closeouts more, getting to that mid-range area a lot. He was getting to his spots where he was comfortable at, and he was able to put up 17. He was putting up 17 points per game, 46% from the field, and knocking down 40% of his three-pointers, while also getting 4 assists a game. So for a guy his age, a guy that his basketball career, as you know, as far as the team success goes, has gotten off to a very bad start. For him to have that type of season, I just think that he was just showing some really good trajectory. So I'm really excited to see Jaden Ivey getting back on the basketball court and becoming healthy. And then also he was a lot more engaged on the defensive side of the ball. We know he has the tool set, the athleticism, the wingspan, the length on his arms to be a disruptive defender on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm looking forward to him being under JB Bickerstaff for another year as well, because it's obvious that defense is something that he really preaches hard to these guys, because they put so much energy on that side of the ball. So, you know, we have Jaden Ivey, we have Ausar Thompson, we have Jalen Duren. And I know Ivey missed a huge part of the season, but I think he definitely would have continued to contribute to the Detroit Pistons, turning their season around in the fashion that they did. But Ausar Thompson and Jalen Duren, they played big-time roles, anchoring the defense, and then also just being such high-energy guys, doing all those little things to get their teammates in the crowd hyped up during the home games. And also, we look at a guy like Ron Holland, who also has so much potential. We forget that he's the 5th overall pick in the last year's NBA draft. So he is a lottery talent. In the little opportunity that he got last year, he always played so hard. He hustled hard. He stuck up for his teammates in a passionate way. And then this year in the summer league, it just looked way too easy for him. He was way too athletic for all the guys that were out there on the basketball court. So I think Ron Holland, with the ways things have gone this opportunity, he's definitely going to have some opportunity to. He's definitely going to have the opportunity. I feel like I just used opportunity way too many times, man. I missaid something. But Ron Holland next season, with the way things transpired this offseason, is what I meant to say with Malik Beasley. I think he's going to have the opportunity to compete and maybe get some more minutes next season. But the Detroit Pistons, they did bring in some pretty seasoned veterans, and Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. So it's going to be very interesting to see what our rotation is when we get towards the All-Star break of the season. But that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. I'm really loving the young core of the Detroit Pistons. Like we said, these guys showed the ability to play a role on a playoff team. After having their darkest season probably in all of their basketball career. So you guys let me know how you feel about that in the comment section, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.